Welcome back, everyone, to NASL Season 3, Week 1, Division 2, Day number 2, Match number 4. Did I throw out enough of that?
Game number 2, yeah.
Game number 2. Yeah, it was game number 2 between Hasuobs versus Dimaga. We promised you this would be the best match of the day, and that was a very epic 25-minute PvZ.
Yep. Of course, Hasuobs taking the 1-0 lead. Now, the map of choice for game number 2 is Odyssey, TPW Odyssey, a newer map into NASL. We had it in the NASTL, but not in the regular NASL seasons. I'm really interested because this is Dimaga's choice. He really likes this. And I have to say, ZVP on this map is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty comfortable. And, I mean, we talked a lot about what Dimaga needs to do in game number 2. We'll find out if he's able to execute here on Odyssey. Now again, Dimaga, he went for kind of an unconventional build, that Baneling drop style, really fast, and tried to see if he can go. He killed a lot of probes, but Hasuobs, he still had 50 probes still, so he still had a pretty good economy and was able to really mass up. We'll find out if he's able to do it, as Hasuobs is your blue Protoss here in the top left corner from Mouse Sports CC. And in the bottom right, we do see Dimaga from MTW, the Red Zerg. And it is his map choice. What can we expect to see on this map?
You know, ZVP on this map, it's kind of interesting. There's a lot of different attack paths. It's a very open map, but at the same time, you have the ability at the later stages of the game to kind of bottle things off. You can see the ramps over here. These are pretty big maps, or excuse me, pretty big ramps in the beginning of the game, but as you move towards the end of the game, sentries become a lot easier to make. You can force field easily. Not only that, the excessive amounts of Colossus Fire can just spray so much damage. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with it, but I think Dimaga wants to take it in the mid-game. That's where I think Zerg is really powerful. The openness of the natural and the third, along with the ability to drop at the main. There's a lot of different movement plays you can do against Protoss.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that's actually what they incorporate into their style of play. In the meantime, we do see an early scout here from Hasu. Again, it's important to get that early scout in just to see if you can have that flexibility to go Nexus first. And Hasu looks like he's gearing up for that, although he did save up some money and then drop the Forge anyways. So again, going for more of the safer play here.
Yeah, a lot of Protosses would opt to do the Nexus first.
Yeah.
But, well, especially with Hasuobs putting up the pylons. You put up the pylons and it basically says your Zerglings need to commit to defending these. If you don't defend them, well, I can easily just wall off and I'm fine. I can wait until my cannons pop up. It's good to go. And now you have no expansion, nor do you have any, harass on me. So it is super safe by Hasuobs, but we'll see how he actually plays this out. He's going to put down his Nexus before any cannons and block off this natural.
Yeah, and the question is, will Hasuobs be able to intercept any attempt to take a third base? Sometimes Zergs just even skip the natural and just take their third immediately and then take their natural expansion as the game progresses. But for now, Hasuobs just content with harassing a lot. Looks like he is trying to see if he can intercept the drone. No, he actually lets it run by him. Oh, a little bit of a misstep there, as he would have been able to delay the third.
Oh, maybe he does.
Dimaga's going to do it. Oh, man. Ooh.
Dimaga, what are you doing?
Yikes. Yeah, that could have been really easy there, but as a result, he has to live through even more pain and heartache.
Yeah, it won't be too much. It's just a couple of seconds here.
Yeah.
I mean, 4 minutes is still a great time to get your third base going, so I'm pretty sure he's fine. Hasuobs is just going to simply take his Nexus, put down a cannon, and then from there just macro up. I think we'll be seeing a very similar build to last time. No two-base all-ins from Hasuobs at all.
Yeah, I mean, Hasu
Knock on
taking
wood.
double
Knock on
gases. Oh, knock on wood. Now, it's interesting because Hasu, he doesn't play exactly conventional in terms of the opening. There's very small things he do differently, like the first gas he doesn't use it for +1. He did a very delayed +1, in fact, and he opted to get hallucination right after Warp Gate instead of getting that +1, which was really cool to see incorporation of that. So Hasu, he's just going to play his game, and that's anything we've seen throughout the series. No matter what, he's going to play it slow, play it passive. And Dimaga, how is he going to try to respond to it? This time, he is going to start putting his drones back on gas immediately, but will he drop that Roach Warren at 6.5 minutes and start maxing out? Will he try to get that Stefano style, or will he go again for that massive Ling style that we saw last game?
I'm not sure. There's a lot of things that Dimaga can do. It's really interesting that he's mining gas this early. Normally we don't have gas up nearly this early. Just drone saturate all your bases, rely on slow Zerglings to deal with any Zealots, even if they are +1 Zealots, and go from there. But no, none of that for from here on out. I think Dimaga should just be playing to the player. He knows his opponent is super macro intensive, so just drone up as much as possible. Don't worry about any pushes, and just start maxing out just as Stefano did, 11 minutes. That's a pretty impressive max out timing.
Speed again. First 100 gas
wow.
harvested from Dimaga.
Look at that, a second
and
gas too.
Another second gas, wow. So we'll see whether or not Dimaga chooses to follow up. Maybe he just felt like he could have executed better, but so far the same opening as he did in game number 1. Meanwhile, Hasu starting to chrono boost out that warp gate as well as get his sentry, and we'll see how Hasu chooses to transition. Now the third is a little bit hard to take on this map because of the nature of things. It's not neat as compact as Ohana, where you can just kind of bounce between bases back and forth. Your exit to your natural is also the entrance to your third, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Hasu if he wants to go for it.
The one thing I do have to mention is that this third is easy to defend easy to attack if you're the Protoss player. I guess I should be looking here. You can see it's pretty enclosed, right? If I attack through here, it's very easy to force shield off. You just waste 3 or 4, you can get great position. So it forces the Zerg to actually battle out either all the way out in the middle of the map or all the way back at the hatchery. That sometimes is not the best place for Zergs to actually battle out, so they need to really power off this. Of course, it is kind of a big map, so they do have the capacity to do so.
Yeah, it's interesting that you pointed out, because isn't it easier to attack down a map than it is attacking up because of the mini-map access? I think that was something like Artosis was pointing out one time. Attacking down a map is actually easier, just for the convenience, because you'll be clicking around here and you don't have to do that versus clicking and scrolling up and then moving down. So it's just an interesting thing I was just trying to point out. I don't know. He's like looking back for the screen.
I'm just thinking about it right now, because actually, me being a caster, I've incorporated the middle click.
Oh, you've been scrolling with middle click?
I do scroll sometimes with middle click. It's actually really convenient because I just slide my finger down. So like that.
Hasu's moving out for a really fast third, 9 minutes. And of course, Dimaga did see that with his Overlord. Now the question is, how will he choose to react? He is still getting his Baneling Dust and the Lair, so very similar build to what he did last game. In fact, down to almost the exact same thing, except this time he has 72 drones instead of 55.
That's a lot more.
Yes.
A lot more, and he's going for that 4th hatchery at his 3rd base. So I like where Dimaga's at, actually. I think he's in a great position. He's playing towards the player, not necessarily the position, but the player. He knows exactly what Hasuobs is normally capable of. Look, Hasuobs is more than happy to oblige. He's saying, let's go to endgame. Let's just do it. You can have your little advantage in the beginning, but I outplayed you last game. I'm going to outplay you this game.
Ooh. So, Dimaga trying to see if he can go for that style. I love the Tech Zealot in the corner of that watchtower to make sure Zerglings can't get an easy surround. At the same time, the Zerglings try to see if they can run by the third to no avail. And Hasuobs, again, looks like he is going to hallucinate the Phoenix, trying to get a good scout, but he's just going to find the same exact thing as he did last game. The question is, I think he wasn't necessarily prepared for the Baneling drops, and hopefully this time he'll be much more prepared.
We'll see, as the Zerglings are just milling around the middle of the map. We don't have too many more harvesters coming out from Dimaga, so all those Zerglings, or actually, rather, all that larva is going to be committed to Zerglings. You can see a huge amount of Zerglings popping out into the map. What does he actually do with that? That's the big question. What do you do with Zerglings? They're so brittle. They're so, easy to kill. Look at this.
Fragile. Yeah, they got trapped by the watchtower. Nice little dual force field to trap a lot. Oh, but at the same time, Dimaga's moving out with his units, trying to see if he can catch the Stalkers and Sentries. He's going to try to see if he can go for the flank immediately and then push to the front. The Banelings also are trying to bait the force field so he can go from behind. Hasu does get it, but a couple Banelings get force fielded in, or do they?
I don't know if they're in range to actually kill those sentries.
Tight, but nice blink back forward, but he's losing all of his sentries.
Oh, wow.
He lost all of his sentries. What a crazy engagement there. Now Dimaga senses an opening. He's trying to see if he can catch the Stalkers, but a blink back does force the choke there. Zealots are left to die, but at the same time, Dimaga managed to catch the important units without his sentries.
And there goes down everything. Blink is up. He's going to blink back just a little bit, but the sentries are such a critical unit to keep, and he's losing every single one of them. That's a big problem. Now only Stalkers are being warped in at this point. But Dimaga, unfortunately for him, he hasn't been macroing so well. 2,000 minerals, and that's the biggest problem with doing Zergling builds. I mean, it's so hard. You need probably around 2.5 hatcheries for every expansion that you have, just to spend correctly with your Zerglings, and you don't have the capacity to do that sometimes. Dimaga not keeping up with all this. A huge round of Banelings coming out here. He's going to do massive damage against his third.
35 Banelings. That's enough to take out 3 gateways and 2 cannons in a pylon, don't you think?
Easily.
But we do see +2 finishing out here for Hasu, but again, that's not going to be enough really to hold off, especially with no force fields. If you could force field the third, it would have been good, but he's keeping on sentries at his natural. And, you know, Hasu's actually been probing so hard, 72 to 69, as he does have the economic advantage. Oh, but drop, and the Overlord Speed's about to finish. Or did finish. +2 is about to finish.
Uh-oh.
Andre, this can do a lot
Sweet
of
merciful
damage.
mother of crap. What does he actually do with this? He's not going to go for the gateways. Oh! Big blink on top of those Overlords. He's going to take out a couple of them, but the Banelings will drop out a little bit here and there. You can see the Stalkers taking massive damage, and now finally the Banelings are getting over towards those probes. The Zerglings streaming in, and this is going to be very difficult as the natural, actually the main, is going to be under attack by a Zergling run-by.
Wow, I mean, I was so taken aback by how Hasu was able to deal that. Blinking forward and taking out those Overlords. Another round of force field to try to trap some Zerglings, but there are a lot here from Dimaga, and he is going to try to take out the rest of the sentry. Hasu now down to 2 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, and 2 sentries. Not really much to defend against the onslaught of Zerglings, as 20 are being pumped out at a time. Dimaga looks like he's finally breaking defenses at the third, and Hasu is forced to retreat.
Hasuobs is under so much threat right here, and not only that, we have the Hive coming out for Dimaga, so adding insult to injury, kicking his opponent when he's down. There it is, GG.
Wow,
Hasuobs
GG.
will not be able to continue on in this series.
Yeah, so Dimaga looks like he is going to take game number 2. And, wow, even out the series and never say die. Dimaga, we were saying this series would have went 2-1.
Yes.
And it could have gone either way. And Dimaga showing that style could work. He just needed a little bit more. You need a second try.
Exactly.
That,
well, that map helped out quite a bit. I mean, let's be honest. The sentry placement is one of the most interesting things to actually talk about, I think.
Yes.
Because having all of those units just spread out all over the place. Now, I do want to say Hasuobs did mismicro that a little bit. Losing all those sentries in the middle of the map, or close to his side of the map, I should say, was the big problem. You can't have that happen. But after that, it's like, where does he place his sentries? He has no good place to place them. The natural, the third, those are 2 very big open places that he has to defend. Not only that, the main. He has to be careful about that main because it can get dropped, as I said, really nicely. So Dimaga obviously utilized all of those things, the whole plethora of options he had, and just really took it to him.
SAT word. What did you score on your SATs, Andre?
It was pretty bad.
Really?
Well,
you also were like a math major and an actuary, like.
Yeah. Well, it was 1320.
That's pretty good.
It was okay. Well, I do have to mention,
right.
I was on the 1600 scale.
Right, you were on
not the 2400 scale.
That was back in so long ago, man.
It was okay.
So old school.
It was all right.
We'll see whether or not Hasuobs can come back and swing the series back in his favor, or will Dimaga complete the comeback? We want to thank iBuyPower for that game number 2, as iBuyPower basically supplying a lot of ability to even run our computers. I love iBuyPower.
They're the
man.
computer supplier here at the NASL. Yeah, they're pretty baller.
Like
Computer supplier here at the NASL. Thank you so much to them. But we're going to run to a short commercial break. When we're back, the conclusion of this series about to go down. Dimaga versus Hasuobs. Don't go anywhere.